Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for another lesson in Scrapbooking 101.5. This is lesson number 12, and today we're going to talk about sketches and how to use them, how to interpret them, how to plan your layout when you see a sketch, and maybe even adjust it a little bit to what your needs are for the photos that you have. And I'm going to use one of the March virtual crop sketches as an example to kind of explain this. Let's check out my workspace and we'll get started. This shouldn't take too long, so let's check it out. All right, so this is my workspace for today. This is a printout of what you see when you log in to the Creative Memories virtual crop each month, and you will print the sketches. When you print the sketches, you get something that looks like this. Usually they look like many different things. Here's another one down here, so it's a little bit different. Sometimes if it's a one-page sketch, it'll be blown up even larger than this, so you can see many more details. They're kind enough to include measurements, as you can see, for different pieces, which is helpful. And then much of this is sort of color coordinated. You'll notice that it's in a grayscale, so there are varying degrees of color, although they're all done in gray. Those varying degrees of color are to help you understand when there is a different color or a different paper or there's a difference in the layer that goes there. So for instance, you'll notice that all of the photos are going to be this really, really dark gray. Then they're going to give you the measurements of the photo that goes in that spot, or the measurements of the photo they recommend to go in that spot. I choose to look at it that way because really you can alter it to whatever your needs are according to the photos that you have in front of you. So you'll notice later that I modified the layout that I made with this sketch, and I will show you exactly what I needed to do. But you know, these are guidelines. A sketch is meant to give you a jumping off place so that you can be inspired to create something. Most of the time they'll be fairly close to exactly what you see on the page, but sometimes you have to take liberties and adjust them to fit what you got, and that's totally fine. Those adjustments can include anything from rotating a page because you have vertical photos instead of horizontal ones, or enlarging something, changing this to be a photo instead of a journal space and a photo, making this a photo space instead of an area for a title, maybe putting your title up here. You can alter this any number of ways. It's really only limited by your own imagination. A couple of other things about this sketch. Whenever you see a symbol like a flower, that simply means an embellishment should go there. It doesn't mean you should put a flower there and you can only put a flower there. It means you could put anything you want there. You can put words, you can put a cluster, you can put whatever applies and will enhance this layout. So these are meant to indicate where you can put your embellishments to complement the layout. Up here across the top, you'll notice you've got a piece that's white. You've got a darker piece that's almost the same shade as our photos here, but not quite. It's actually the same as what's behind your photos. See how you can almost not see the difference between this dark piece here and this piece here? So those are meant to be the same paper according to the designs of the sketch. That doesn't mean they have to be, again, but it does mean that that's what the designer is suggesting would be good. Okay, so then you've got another different color underneath that looks like it goes to the top of the page. And you'll notice if you are math savvy, you can look at the measurements that are given for each piece and kind of guess if you're not sure whether this piece right here goes all the way to the top of the page. If you see that it is 12 inches by 3 inches, and this piece down here is 12 by 1, so that's a quarter of your page, or a third of your page, sorry, that's 4 inches of your 12-inch page. And each of these photos is 3.5 inches, so that's another 7 inches. And that gives you basically 1 inch for in between all of these photos to make your 12 inches total. So that tells me this 3-inch piece goes all the way to the top of the page. Okay, whenever you're adding, whenever you're trying to figure out measurements, if you're not sure of anything, just add them up to 12, and if they don't add up, then try to figure out, okay, what am I missing, right? So this is a 3-inch piece. It goes underneath and all the way to the top. Then you layer on top of it this darker piece here, which you can see is 2 inches. And then this white piece that's in here, they tell you is 1.5 inches high. Now, you can do a lot of things with that. You can do a 1.5 inch by 12-inch piece of paper on top that complements these other 2 pieces of paper. You can punch a design using the decorator punches similar to this one that's from National Scrapbook Day coming up. These generally are about 1.5 inches high. You can use a border maker cartridge. Those are going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, but that's okay. That would just widen the darker border here. Not a problem. Or sometimes if you use a border maker cartridge that's not a chain punch, you can trim it to be a little wider. So you could trim it so that it is 1.5 inches high. If you're fortunate enough to have one of the CM scrapbooking idea books like this one, and generally we come out with one of these, lately we've been coming out with them about every year, every other year, something like that. And this is full of all kinds of these type of sketches. And so in the front of this book are little reminders of how to read the sketch, okay? That the dark rectangles are the photos. The rectangle boxes that are around the photos are usually papers or mats. The other shapes indicate stickers or embellishments. They'll tell you where they suggest you put your title. They'll let you know if there's a border by giving you a design. It doesn't mean that you need to put a design that looks just like this, a scallop design where they show you that. It just means that they're telling you there's some kind of a punched border that you should try to put in there, or that they're suggesting would be good in there, right? So you can use, they're telling you here, you can use embellishments, border stickers, those are great, border maker cartridges, or border punched borders. Okay, so any of those. It'll give you these corresponding shades that are used, these shades of gray that are used in the sketch. And it'll tell you that these are the suggestions for where you should use a different designer paper or cardstock or mats, so that you can design your layout to look as much like this as you want it to. Okay, let me show you again the layout that I was mentioning before that I did, and let me zoom out so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, so this is in my Disney album, and this posted recently, so you should have seen this already if you have been watching my channel. And this is the challenge number 3 from the March virtual crop of this year. You'll notice that all of my photos are in the same places that theirs are, but I did take some liberties over here. This was supposed to be, according to the sketch, a wider photo, which I shortened to match this photo down here because I did not include a journal box. Okay, I had more photos than they had, and I wanted this photo to include Haley, even though her face is not happy in this picture, okay? Because she's happy up here, so that's good. I wanted this photo here to be a full-size photo, so rather than it being 3.5 by 5.5, this is a full 6 by 4, or yeah, 6 by 4 inch photo. All right, and then rather than using a mat here, this is where my title will go when I cut it on my Cricut. And so I did leave this blank for that purpose. I can do some journaling in here, I can do some journaling down here, or even here if I use a pen that will show up well on this colored paper. Okay, you'll notice across the top that rather than just do a punched border, I did this the darker color represented here, the 2-inch border I cut out of this lighter arrow paper. Then I punched from the rustic fence punch and made a little train track, and I used a laser border to go across. And so perfectly acceptable. The laser borders, most of them are well within this measurement, so you can play with those and layer those however you like. This is also a laser border, this star that I cut to accommodate what I wanted to do. Okay, so don't feel limited and feel like you have to use just paper. You can use punches, you can use laser borders if you don't have punches, or if you find a laser border you really think is cool, like this train. You can use the 12-inch stickers. You can, your limitations are only your own imagination. So use this as a jumping off point. And I hope this has been helpful to explain how to go about arranging your layout. Now, just a couple of other suggestions that I would make. If you are going to mat a photo, typically, and this layout is not typical, but typically I would suggest that whatever photo you put behind, or whatever paper you put behind your photos as a mat, that it be a darker paper. Usually that's what I do. I didn't do that in this layout and it turned out okay, I think. But typically your photos will jump off the page better if they are backed by a darker color. Okay, so navy or eggplant or black or brown, the hot fudge, or black, or I already said black. So anyway, typically that's what I will do and that's what you will see. But I was trying to stay within the parameters of the sketch, and the sketch recommended that this paper match this paper. So I decided, well, we will try it. And I don't think it turned out badly. The sketch also sort of leads you to believe that you could just use a naked page instead of designer paper back here, which normally I would do, but I had this cute train paper and I wanted to use as much of it as I could, because I don't do train layouts very often. So I just decided to go ahead and do base pages for the layout and add my other papers to it. So just some fun little additional information tips to help you out. If you have questions or concerns, please make sure you make note of them in the comments. I would love to answer any questions that you have and help you out. So if this is still, if you're still not quite understanding, or you're not sure if you could use one thing or another, shoot me a quick note. I would love to help you. All right, I hope this has been beneficial for you, and I hope that it will help you in the future. Please be sure you are participating in the Creative Memories annual virtual crop. There is a tracker you can download, and if you do all of the virtual crop challenges every month all year, they're going to do a drawing at the end of the year. And usually when they let us know they're going to do that, they make it well worth your while for spending the time and doing those. So, and you can do them anytime during the year. So if it's October and I've missed one in March, I can come back and do that. If you are curious and want some more ideas for the March virtual crop sketches, stay tuned, because my next few videos will have the remaining virtual crop sketches from March in my Ireland scrapbook. And I'm excited to bring those to you. So you take care, and until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Have a great day now.